Hi, I'm David Plazas, the Opinion and Engagement Director for the Tennessean and the USA Today Network Tennessee. This is part of a series of conversations we're having for candidates for mayor in Nashville 2023. The election is August 3rd, and I'm pleased to have with me today Fran who's a candidate for mayor. Fran, how are you doing today?
I'm doing awesome, David. Thank you for asking.
Would you tell us, why are you running for mayor?
Well, I'm running to be Nashville's next mayor. Thousands of even you have covered me while I was on the school board. And while I was on the school board, I was very intentional. I got a lot of work done for our students. We're talking about 80,000 students and their families, raises for our teachers, bus drivers, support staff. There were so many other things that I did while I was on the board, and it was just, just to see the kind of work that I did. I wanted to, at that time, coming off the board in 2022, I wanted to take my leadership and my skills and my style of leadership from the education to our city. And education is always going to be dear and near to my heart, and that's one of my priorities, and we can get to that. But it is just, we got to have a mayor that's more intentional, that knows how to get the work done. And I call myself the PEP factor. I always have a plan, I execute, and progress is made. And I think it's time that this city gets that in a leadership, in someone that has done the work and now can be able to take that style of leadership and really get the work done. I love public service. I'm good at what I do. And it's just time that we be more intentional about getting the work done. And that's something that I can do.
Thank you for that. Let's talk about your priorities. You mentioned education as one of them, but let's go a little bit further into that and some of the other priorities you have.
Absolutely. My main focus, which is going to be many more that I will be focusing on, but my top priorities will be homelessness, affordable housing. We talk about that so much. Crime and safety, education, of course, infrastructure, neighborhoods. Those are some of my big priorities that I want to tackle so that we can start to see progress. And that's something that we talk about all the time. It's becoming to a point, they call it a tumbleweed. It gets old. It just keeps going through our city over and over again, our neighborhoods that are not being impacted the way they should. Their taxpayer dollars, they don't see the benefits, right? I want to make sure that they see those things. And I'm very intentional about getting that work done.
Very good. And I know that one of your priorities also is public safety.
Yes.
Could you talk a little bit further into that?
Yeah, so when it comes to public safety, we have seen an increase of crime in our city. And I want to make sure that we're all safe. Now, are we going to be perfect? We're not going to be perfect. But one of the things that I want to do the first year of my administration is to cut crime by 50%. Yes, that's a bold statement, but I know I can get that done because I'm really intentional about looking at our young people. Most of our crime is happening with our young people between the ages of 14 and 26 years old. So I want to be able to invest more into nonprofit organizations. It's really important to do that because they're boots on the ground, and the only snag that they are up against is funding. They want to spread their wings and be able to grab more children so that we can be able to support them so they can be productive citizens instead of committing crimes, because we know that when that happens, there's other things that's happening to our young people that they need support.
And Nashville has grown tremendously over the
Yes.
last decade. I've been here almost 10 years, and we've also seen this prosperity gap grow where housing is getting less affordable,
Yes.
and you have a lot of new transplants coming in many ways benefiting the city. But
Right.
what do you think the mayor's role should be in addressing those housing challenges and cost of living challenges?
Yeah, so to your point, the cost of living, we talked and mentioned it before. To come to Nashville, you have to be able to afford to live here. Now, that wasn't like this, 10 years ago, where people came into the city and had affordable housing. When I say affordable housing, you had houses that are around that 200,000 range. Interest rate was a lot more less than it is right now. So what I want to do is, I want to be able to sit down, bring those developers, builders to the table, to the mayor's office, and have a conversation about possibly inventorying about 10% of their homes for affordable housing. I think that plan can work. I think the number is a fair number. I think it's something that wouldn't take away from their bottom line. And I think they want to be a part of the process and be loud and proud that that's what they're doing. So I want to build those relationships, and I know I can get that done.
Now, we're recording this on April 27th of 2023. Just a couple days ago, the Metro Council passed the deal to build a new stadium for the Tennessee Titans. For you as a citizen and if elected mayor, what happens now in terms of the development around the stadium and what it means for the neighborhoods across Nashville?
Sure, absolutely. As a citizen first, I am a Titans fan. I think it's been 25 years they've been with us. Very excited when they came because of the Oilers, Texas Oilers, yes. And for me as a citizen, I am very happy that some type of agreement, we could have some type of agreement. Now, within that deal, as a citizen, I did want to see more Nashvilleians be able to utilize that infrastructure. And one of the things that I heard that I like was the community center that's going to be built in that particular facility. So that's something that's near and dear to me because I'm an HOA president, and I want to see the facility be used not just for tourists we want to make sure that Nashville feels a part of this whole project, this process. And as far as what it's going to do for the city, oh my gosh, the NFL draft. You remember when we had the draft here? That was incredible, and I think that was one of the biggest drafts. Everyone talked about it. I mean, we were really on the map, and I think it's what really put Nashville on the map was the NFL draft. So I know that this is going to really bring tremendous amount of more events, possibly the Super Bowl. I'm really excited about what it's going to do for the city.
And it's very interesting to talk about the NFL draft and all these events, and you've got CMA Fest, post-pandemic.
Oh, yes.
I want to talk to you a little bit about your service on the school board. You served for 4 years. Tell me what you're proudest of from that time.
Wow, I think during a time that we've never seen before. It was so unprecedented, of course, during COVID. That was a tough time for our kids. Very tough time for our kids, our parents. Families were really struggling to figure out what to do for their children. Parents had to put food on the table, where they were taken away from that equation of working full time just to try to get it right for their kids' education, because of course they were on virtual learning. And time went by, and I just kept looking at things that were so wrong that was happening when we had other counties that were touching our Metro Nashville public schools or districts, that they were in school. And I had to really take a deep dive into listening to parents and figuring it out when I was the only one that wanted to figure it out and have a plan to get our students back into the classroom. I also had a cohort in my daycare where I brought in kindergarten through second graders, and I saw what was happening. So firsthand, I'm all about talking the talk and walking the walk. If I'm going to see it, I want to be a part of the equation and figure out how we're going to fix this. And one of the proudest moments, very emotional time, getting our kids back into schools, and it was tough. They were out of school for a whole entire year. And that entire year couldn't go past that year because that mark was starting to become a bad mark for our kids. And now we're seeing how literacy is down right now. And of course, a lot of things are down academically for our kids, but that even set our kids back even more. So when you see parents, thousands of parents that are saying and ringing your phone, you never got any time to sleep, which was okay because I understood their passion, I understood their emotions. And I said, okay, we're gonna do this. They said, Fran, if you do what we're asking you to do, we're right behind you. And I already knew because I had a senior at the time. I knew how important it was to get them back in school. And I said, you know what, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna get this done. And it got done. And it got done pretty quickly once I started the process of saying enough. We're done with this. We have got to get these kids back in school. There are so many issues that they're having. Suicide rate went up, mental health, gun violence went up. All these things we saw play in front of our eyes, and no one did anything about it. And that was really hard to sit back and watch that. But it was okay because I had enough courage to get it done, even when it was hard. Because you go against a lot of politics when you're in the midst of doing something like that. But it didn't scare me. It made me actually even stronger to get these kids back in school. So that is one of my proud moments.
We know that you were oftentimes a person who was against the entire school board when it came to particular votes or when it came to your assessment of Dr. Battle. What has that taught you about being ready for mayor of Nashville?
One of the things it taught me is that you don't need a group of people to get the work done. One of the things that it taught me is that sometimes, and not to go against Dr. Battle or anything like that, because, her leadership is her leadership. But I do know that you have to hold people accountable. And that's exactly what I had to do, is hold people accountable. And even when you are the Lone Ranger, you have to be able to do that, especially when you have common sense and you have to get it done. You will get those votes. And being on the board taught me that I just don't need a group of people to do the work. It taught me that being solo to do work is almost your best thing to do. You're going to have, you want the support of the people, that's not what I'm saying, but you have to have someone to say, you know what, it's okay that you don't want it or you don't want to vote on it. There's other ways around it, should I say. And that's how I got them back in school. That's how I got them playing their sports. They kept them off the fields. All the other kids were playing their sports, not Metro Nashville Public School kids. I saw that, and I said, okay. I tried with leadership, and I said, hey, please, look at this. Look what's happening to these kids. They got to get scholarships, right? Because parents can't afford that extra 20% financial aid. They need this. They're athletes. But it went on deaf ears. And when it went on deaf ears, once again, I said, no, not going to let that happen. And got them back on the fields. Because I held rallies, I said, okay, let's get this done. And we got them back on.
One of the issues that I hear about constantly that frustrates a lot of Nashvilleians is traffic.
Mm-hmm.
And they're trying to find a solution to it. What are your thoughts about it, and how do you, if elected as mayor, do something about it?
Yeah, so transit is a hot topic right now. It's huge. And I know back in 2018, we were looking at a rail system, and I do want to take a deep dive in looking at that again. One of the things I want to do is go to other cities. I want to take this field trip, and I want to be able to see how other cities did it and how it's working, or some of the things that didn't work and that I can bring back to Nashville, and be able to have that conversation, be very transparent, lay it all out, because the public, Nashvilleians, they want to be a part again of the process. Excuse me, they want you to listen. They want to have that input, and it's important for them to have that input. So transparency is everything. So that's one of the things I want to do. I want to be able to be able to have a plan, because remember, I got that PEP factor. So we got to have a plan, and once that plan is in place, I want to be able to roll it out. Not sort of say have any plans as far as how it's going to look, but I want to get the feedback, because I think now when you have the conversation, 2018 and now 2023, it looks different, right? Look totally different. Traffic looks totally different. So I think people are going to say, you know what? Let's take a look at this. I want to be able to really see how we can help mitigate this traffic. And right now I'm just tired of it. So what do you have that we can do? And that's exactly what I think people would say at that time, be more open to the conversation. Is it an expensive project? Absolutely, it will be expensive. How are we going to pay for it? That's something I have to take a deep dive into to figure that out.
So we've recently finished the legislative session, and Nashville came out rather bruised, whether it came to the size of the council, which of course has been put on hold by a judge for a while, right, or whether it's the commission appointments and the potential to go back again. How do you as mayor repair or work with the state, repair that relationship so that there will be a lot more cooperation instead of antagonism?
Yeah, you used that nice word, bruise. That was a nice word. We were just totally attacked on everything, right? It was just really not good on how things played out on the legislature's levels. I mean, it was an embarrassment to see a lot of things that happened. Boards being taken away, council being cut in half. That was, and it was very embarrassing, especially God rest our souls, after we had our Covenant shooting. And then of course to have all this play out was literally, people thought more of Nashville. They thought more of us. They thought that we should be better than this. You just had a school shooting, and you're marking up your city like this, your state like this. So that wasn't very that was not something that I wanted to see play out. None of us did. And to repair the relationship, you really, really have to be, at this point, tired of seeing this play out. So now as the next mayor, if I become the next mayor of the city, I want to be able to try to build more relationship. And that's where I feel like that hasn't happened as far as the mayor and then the governor. I think if we start to repair relationship, having a relationship with Governor Lee is really going to help us move better in a better direction. Of course, people want to see common sense gun laws. They want to see the red flag law. These are simple things, and the red flag is something that should be in place right now. There should be no second guess. There should not even be a question after we lost our people, and that's frustrating. So if I become the next mayor, I want to be able to have that conversation. I want to be able to pull my chair up and have a seat at their table and be able to say, let's have a conversation. We may not agree on everything. It's okay to agree to disagree, but we have to listen to each other. And we have to say, what can we do that we can come in the middle for people, for Nashvillians, for people in their state. So we have got to get this right.
I want to thank Fran Bush, our candidate for mayor, who is visiting with us today. Before I let you go, any final words for the audience?
Well, I'm really excited about this opportunity, and I have been a household name for thousands of our students in Metro Nashville public schools and in the city. And I'm just hoping, after all the work that people have seen me do, that they know how passionate I am and the drive I have to get work done. And I would love their vote, because I do think they're ready for a trusted leader like myself, who have been in the trenches and being able to make a difference. And I can also do it in our city. So thank you so much, and I ask you for your vote.
Thank you so much. Thank you to our viewers as well. Please keep up with mayoral coverage and coverage of the Metro Council elections on Tennessean.com. Remember, the election is August 3rd, and the deadline to register to vote is 30 days before. Keep up. Our voter guides are going to be coming out very soon, and we hope you take a look at the candidates and make an informed decision. Thank you very much.